Are you so passionate about what you're creating that you are willing to paint over your masterpieces? Because recently, artificial intelligence has discovered that there are paintings underneath paintings. The painting you're looking at in this picture on the left is an original Picasso. Artificial intelligence showed that there is a painting underneath it. I learned about this from Françoise Gillot because I had the opportunity to meet her, and she explained to me that in the 1940s there was a shortage of canvases, and artists like Picasso and Matisse and even Francois would painting over their paintings. The need and the urge to create was so great that they didn't let a shortage of canvases stop them from painting. And as she showed me the painting in her home that she had done, she said, "You're looking at the fifth one I did in the 1940s. I think my favorite is the third one underneath it." I thought, no one's ever going to see that third painting. So if I tell the story of it, maybe it lives on. And I thought, how much of an artist do we see ourselves that we need to paint over our paintings? You know, Francois was with Picasso in the 1940s when she was in her 20s and he was in his 60s. And they had a very tumultuous relationship, but they both shared this urge to paint over their paintings because they needed to keep creating. If all of you start to think of yourselves as artists who tell stories and are willing to paint over your masterpieces, then that gives you a whole different sense of energy of how you go out into the world. Because when you think of yourself as an artist, and you might have to paint over your own masterpieces, your clients' budgets might change, you might find the competition has come in. I know for myself personally, when I got divorced, I had to paint over my own masterpiece. That was not the story I was planning to have happen to my life. And I realized, I've got to put myself back on a dating app? Ugh. But even in my professional life, when the pandemic hit and all the live events were canceled, I had to paint over my masterpieces of how I communicate and start learning how to give virtual talks. So whether it's a personal situation or a professional situation, all of us are going to have to paint over our own masterpiece at some point in our life. I want to invite all of you to start thinking of yourselves as artists who tell stories. Because when you think of yourself as an artist that tells stories, you might as well become the Picasso of those stories and the Picasso of pitches. And sometimes you have to paint over your own masterpieces. So all of you are going to face the same challenge of personally and professionally having to paint over your own masterpieces. And when you realize that you're an artist that's willing to do that because the message and the reason that you're doing what you're doing is greater than how you do it, you're going to go out and connect with people in a whole new way that's going to make you a revenue rock star.